What's up, good people? Welcome back to YouTube from scratch. So what really happens when you get monetized? This is one of those topics that, oh my God, I wish I would have known when I first got monetized, when I first started my first channel and got monetized. I wish I would have known kind of what to expect along the way. It would have saved me a lot of the mistakes that I really made. And a lot of the mistakes that YouTubers really make coming out of the gate is that they're so laser focused on getting monetized that they make a whole lot of mistakes that they really don't need to make. And let's talk about that. So one of the things that you have to understand when you are talking about monetization is that that can't be your sole focus of wanting to start a YouTube channel. Now, you can let that be a part of your strategy for growth, and you can aspire to monetization and let that be your motivation. But as you start to create your content and start to build your channel and grow your channel, if you go down the trap of just wanting to be monetized, you're going to make all kinds of mistakes that most YouTubers make, such as sub for sub, doing all the wrong things to get views, to get subscribers. All those things really evolve out of the desire to want to be monetized and monetize quickly. So we as YouTubers, we have, there are two folds. There are two things that we do and do really well. We make content for the platform, and we at some point start promoting ourselves and communicating with others to try to grow our channels. One of those things is a very good thing to really focus on. The other thing can be, and let me explain. So, focusing on your content and making good content is always a good idea, because value, as we've said before on the platform, always wins. If you're always adding value, you're always going to be at a position where people are going to be interested in what you do, specifically, your audience that grows with you. And, especially when you are doing all of the things right, such as creating good titles, creating good searchable content, and creating good thumbnails to get those clicks and bring people in. When you're doing all those things, your content can be the focus, and your content, making good content and letting that be the focus, is a really good idea for growing a YouTube channel. Now, on the flip side, as new content creators, and when we start to try to make things faster by bringing in viewers ourselves, communicating with other content creators and, really asking for support that way, that's when things get really strange and start to go off the rails from an analytical standpoint. And we don't see that until we really get monetized. Because when you're not monetized, there's a lot of things that are going on with your channel that really don't show up until that monetization really turns on, and you're starting to get ads served on your videos, and you're starting to try to make a profit from your channel. And you don't realize that when you're building all those relationships with other content creators, and you're trying to build your channel off of that, it really turns into a headache when you start getting money, when you get monetized, because then you realize that a lot of the people that are subscribers to your channels really don't watch your content all the way through. They really don't take your content seriously. They're just there because they are that symbiotic relationship where you're watching their content, they're watching your content, and you're sharing those views. So it's a really big deal that you learn that monetization is not the end all be all thing to focus on when you first start your YouTube channel. So, I wish this point was hammered in more, and I wish this was talked about more, especially from YouTube, gurus, so to speak, and people who really kind of, talk about YouTube growth from their perspective. I wish, it was talked about more, but it can be a real danger. It can be a real danger to just think about monetization, and, it becomes like this quest, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do all these things to get monetized. And you start to try to, get those metrics under your belt of 1,000 subscribers and the 4,000 watch hours. And, it can be grueling. It can be a challenge when you first start off as, a fresh new YouTuber that doesn't have any of those metrics. You might not have any subscribers or any views. And you really start to do things that is going to hurt your channel in the long run. That's just the point that I want to make. And it takes a while to correct those things. So basically, all of the time that you saved or shaved off from doing sub for sub and doing all those things in the beginning to get to the point of monetization faster, end up making it where you have to fix all of that stuff for the same amount of time. So it still takes you the same amount of time before your channel really starts to grow, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense to someone, because it makes sense to me now that I've done it. But anyway, I think that's one of the main things that you really have to understand. So it really helps if you understand on the front end that, definitely think about monetization as a part of your strategy, but don't make that the sole focus. What you should be making the focus is creating good content, making sure that your content is the first thing is making sure that your content is something that people are actually looking for. That's the key metric that I think should be the first metric that people really stress about building a YouTube channel. Make content that the people are looking for. Because if you don't do that, you're just fighting an uphill battle the whole way. You're fighting a whole uphill battle the whole way. And I think people realize that, kind of midway into their YouTube career or after they already get monetized. And that is such a tragedy sometimes, where people have worked years on, building a channel. And this is one of the things that is my pet peeve. People that have worked years on building a channel, they're very good at what they do. But they finally realize once they get monetized that their niche or their topic it doesn't really have an audience on YouTube yet. So, and that's a really hard pill to swallow when you've created content for a long period of time and, you've struggled and you've, got a lot of views and you've met all the criteria, but you've met it all through getting other content creators to participate and, kind of sub for sub with you. And, a lot of times it's not called sub for sub. I know that, but getting other content creators to, watch your content and you watch it's sub for sub. So we're just going to call it that. But, there's a lot of times where content creators do all these things and they become monetized, and then there's crickets. There's no growth, and they wonder and they toil and they wonder, why isn't my channel growing? What's happening? And it's all because there wasn't a focus on, is the niche I'm going into something that people care about? Is there enough people? Is there enough interest on the platform to be served to that, regardless, I'm going to get those views over time. People are going to, search this out. Am I using searchable topics within that niche? And are my thumbnails speaking to, that niche or speaking to the topics that I am creating for that niche? Those three things are so key at YouTube growth that, and they are the things that people really don't do or get right until a lot of time has passed. And those are the things that I really want to stress. If you can get those three things right, along with, definitely having your personality shine through in the videos that you do create, or whatever mechanism that you're going to use to make your channel stand out or your content stand out and make people continue watching, those things together are what make channels grow. And, I'm going to say it again because I think, it's important to always keep saying this, making sure that you are creating content that people care about. Number one. Number two, making sure that your titles that you create are speaking to that, and they are titles that you can rank for. Because a lot of times people, us coming to the platform, new YouTubers, we create these titles that we could never rank for. You're new to the platform and you have this YouTuber that's been on the platform since, it started, and they're using this 3-word title, and then you're going to use this 3-word title thinking that you're going to get those views as well. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Not immediately. So it's very important that you are following that system where you are using titles that you can rank for, and then making sure that when you find those titles that you can rank for, And we talked about how to do that in another video. So make sure you check that video out. Once you find those titles, you are creating the right thumbnails that match those titles, and doing those things, and then making sure that the video speaks to those titles and thumbnails, that the video backs up what you're putting out in those titles and thumbnails, so that when people actually watch the video and see the content, they're interested and they're hooked. Those are the things you need to be doing. I know it's really easy to focus on monetization, and that's a goal. Keep that as a goal, and it's inspiration, but don't let that be your main focus, because it is very dangerous to go down that road. I'm not going to belabor this point anymore. I hope this was extremely helpful to someone, and we'll see you in the next one.